Hello and welcome to another episode of Trailblazers Rising. I have to tell you that I am super stoked for my guest today. Coach Lee is a powerhouse in many senses of the word, and we hooked up via Threads, and I did a little bit of scoping on her social media, but it's going to be a fantastic conversation today about productivity, accountability. I'm sure we're going to talk about grit and resilience. And she is an incredible trailblazer in all of the fields that she's in. So, Coach Lee, introduce yourself and tell everybody why they should love you.
I am Coach Lee, criminal defense attorney by day, productivity and accountability coach, like I like to say throughout. I'm all about empowering people, but especially women, to find that hidden time in their day, time that they can use to pour back into themselves as they pursue their goals, their purpose, and their life passions while still maintaining their current responsibilities. Because as women, we play so many roles in life that we often put ourselves last. And I'm here to help you and show you that you don't have to do that. You can still do and be for other people by pouring into yourself first.
Pour back into yourself. I want everybody to know that I wrote that down because my dyslexic brain is going to want to use that again later. I got to ask, Coach Lee, before I get into all these questions, how long have you been a criminal defense attorney and how long have you been a productivity and accountability coach? Because I feel like you sound like you are so good at both that I would give you all my money without ever even vetting you.
Attorney and criminal defense, like since I got out of law school. So 2013, September 30th, 2013, got sworn in. And productivity and accountability coach, I guess legally and officially, January 1st of 2021. But during the pandemic is when it kind of started coming out of me and really evolving. But legally,
Wow.
LLC wise, 2021.
Oh, beautiful. All right, let's just dive right into the questions because I know you're going to have some incredible answers. Everybody get their pen and paper ready. Grab your emotional support beverage, and now we're going to dive in. So let me ask you, your industry is evolving fast, and you can answer for both industries or just the productivity and accountability coaching. That's up to you. So what is one way that you've had to pivot or adapt in the last year or so to keep growing?
Well, law is ever evolving, ever changing. This economic climate that we're in, all the different laws that are changing, I'm still trying to wrap my head around that. So that's just a constant evolution and growth. Like every year, new statutes and things come out, sometimes more than others. So that's a constant evolution there. And yeah, in terms of the coaching aspect, social media changes. So where do you find your clients? How are you showing up? How are you marketing? What do you need to do? Can you be yourself? Do you have to be all fancy and made up and all these different things? So in the coaching world, it's figuring out, understanding who you are, and as you grow and evolve, figuring out what that evolution looks like in your marketing and even in your messaging to figure out what's next. What do you want to do? Like one thing that even I've been looking at and thinking about because of the criminal defense attorney side of me, but it's essentially being in corporate is kind of, do I want to niche down further from just saying like empowering women to like corporate women, those, those with the 9 to 5 who are salaried workers and who know that I have to get this work done no matter if I'm doing it at 11 o'clock at night, or if I'm bringing work home, if I'm coming in on the weekends. So that's an evolution that I'm currently going through and kind of trying to figure out, do I want to go more there? Or do I kind of want to stay kind of where I am and kind of balancing and figuring out what does that look like to switch or pivot in either or direction?
Just man, the business mindset coach in me has to comment on this. I'm sorry. I don't want to coach on my calls, but I have to. The more narrow that you get with your target, I call them unicorn clients, and the more that you can make content that only speaks to them, it's like pulling back a slingshot really, really slowly and then really like letting it rip. There's this period, and I have one client in particular who's going through this right now, where your messaging gets more direct. So it's not even like you're pivoting. You're just really narrowing and pinpointing who you're talking to. And as the universe is pulling that slingshot back with you in it, all of this stuff that's no longer aligned is dropping out. So your followers account, like your following can get smaller. My TikTok account has been losing followers consistently every day for the past year and a half. And it's a total, I want to say, of like 5,000 that I've lost in the past year and a half. I'm still getting new followers, but I'm losing a lot of followers too, which in my mind is fantastic because I've had this account since 2021. And there's probably all sorts of hangers on that aren't right for who I am now and for, my evolution and quote unquote niching down, although everybody hates that word. So if you really think about narrowing your focus, you can get so much better at the transformation you provide, and you can provide such a deeper, longer lasting transformation that it's worth it to really narrow in on your target. Because if you're focusing on corporate women and I don't think enough people focus on corporate women because it is a whole different bag of challenges for a woman who is stuck working on somebody else's schedule than it is for, say, me, who works with entrepreneurs who have a problem with their, like, I have so much time, I have to fill all of it with everything, and I have to build the structure, and what is the routine and all that sort of stuff. So if that's what you specialize in, I say go for it.
Thank you. Thank you. It's like I've been doing it because in speaking about myself and telling my stories, I'm looking at, and like if you watch my stories, I'm showing me at work. I'm showing that side of me all the time. But it was kind of like, can I expand it outside of law essentially to where it's, helping? Because that's who I help. Like I really do. Like if I look at and think about my clients, 95% of them have been people in corporate. Some of them have only been solopreneurs who've gotten that way, but they still are doing other things as well. So thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You don't really strike me as the kind of person that's never made it happen, no matter what it is that you want to do. So please don't tell me you're worried about any sort of pivot or deepening of pinpointing. I don't even know what the words are. You really don't strike me as somebody who doesn't make it happen.
Yeah, I mean, I can make it happen, but the process of getting there sometimes is the process of getting there, which, I mean, the perfectionist side of me is like, wait, it has to be perfect. No, girl, just do it and you'll figure it out along the way. Like if it don't work, quote unquote, don't work, go back. Like you're not failing, you're learning.
Yeah, absolutely. We all build the ship as we sail it. There is not enough time in the world for women, no matter if you have a day job or not, for us to say, okay, let me build the whole thing and then see if people want it and then see if it's profitable. Bitch, you got to get the idea. You got to say, ChatGPT, how do we turn this into the fucking thing that I need it to be? Blah, 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 and then just shout it from the rooftops over and over and over and over and over again. Absolutely. Okay. All right, now I'm going to ask you my favorite question, my absolute favorite question to ask everybody. Feel free to take a big, deep breath and think about it because I feel like this is the most important question I can ask anybody. What inspired you to start your business, and how has that initial vision evolved over time?
I never had an intention of being a coach. I love what
Really?
I do as an attorney. I have no intention and no plan of stopping. Me starting a coaching business came from people telling me, you're motivating, you're encouraging, you should be a coach. I used to do, I guess technically I still am signed up as an affiliate, like Beachbody coaching, P90X, Shaun T, Insanity. I was doing those workouts coming through law school and then was in like these challenge groups. So essentially accountability groups doing the workouts. And so, motivating the girls in there, like kicking them off. And then the girl who was running it was a coach and was kind of like, you should sign up and be like a Beachbody coach. You're already basically doing it with the encouragement that you're giving the girls. Plus, if anybody signs up on you, you get a discounted product, make some money, blah, blah, blah. So I signed up. But even in the course of that, most of them are women and they have, working, have kids. And it's like, I can't figure out how to fit this workout and things like that. So like I was offering suggestions. And then outside of that, like my friends and family are like, you should be a coach because I don't understand how you quote unquote do it all and you go to bed early, you wake up, you have this routine, you have this structure. Like, how do you do it? So honestly, it was everyone else telling me I should do it. And my response to them, which is funny since I help people find hidden time in their day, was that I didn't have time to do it. Enter pandemic. Enter the pandemic. What do I now have? A whole bunch of time.
Whole bunch of
Literally,
time.
look, yes, literally a week and a half into the pandemic, I'm tired of reading books. Like, I love to read. I'm tired of watching TV. I've binge watched so many shows. Like, what else is there to do? Like, the world is shut down. Like, thankfully, I didn't lose my job. But I'm like, I've gone for a walk. I've done a workout. I've watched TV. I've done all this stuff. And so those thoughts started coming back of you should be a coach. And my reminder to myself of, I don't have time came back. And it was like, girl, what you got? Time. So me and Google, because that was pre-chat GPT days, me and Google was like looking up, and the algorithm with the algorithming, Facebook and Instagram, they all showing me ads for coaching programs. So I started like downloading and signing up for different ones to kind of figure out what it is that I want to do, because I realized that you don't need a certificate to do it. But type A personality that I am, if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it right. I'm going to get me a certification. I'm going to get me some kind of training. And then the program that I ultimately went through, I made it halfway through the first video, which was all of 5 minutes. And I was like, oh, I understand why people say I should do this. I get it now. I'm in. Let's go.
That's fantastic. Oh my God. It's so funny too, because I'll have clients who are in the middle of a pivot and they're trying to realize, like, do I want to be a coach now or do I want to be a consultant? And I tell every single person, if you're not sure what kind of service you want to provide, a coach has always encouraged people their entire life. A coach has always been the go-to person in other people's lives for that motivation, for that drive, for that, energy boost. And a consultant is always somebody who people have asked your opinion, but they are not coming to you for that zhuzhing and for that boost. And a coach wants to be a coach, right? If you don't feel in your heart that you want to be a coach, go be a consultant. You can probably charge even more money and do less work. But I know with my clients, I am communicating with them all the time. We are getting down in the thick of it. My 6-month program is designed to get close to you in the first 2 months so that you can get close to yourself too, and you can figure out what's going on. And then in the second 2 months, we're going to figure out why everything's not doing what you want it to do, because now we have all the evidence. And then in the last 2 months, we're going to implement all the changes that are necessary. So I tell people a lot of the time, it's like learning how to ride a bike. I'm going to be real close to you in the beginning. And then as you get stronger and more confident, I'm going to be farther and farther away. And then eventually I'm just going to be on the front porch and you're going to ride by and be like, okay, thanks. Look what I did. And you're going to, never need me again. Well, we do communicate for a long time afterwards. It's part of being a psychic. I'm going to stay connected to you until you say no or until I say no, which rarely happens. So it's so interesting. I do see people telling you that you're a motivating force, because you're definitely a motivating force, capital letters.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. So you said you have been a criminal defense attorney for 12 years-ish, and you've been a productivity and accountability coach for about 4 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes, ma'am.
And many more to come. So let me ask, which one do you like more?
I like them both for different reasons. And it's funny that you asked that, because when I first started like the coaching, like bringing the coaching business like to fruition, people are like, how are you a criminal defense attorney and a coach? Like, those seem like completely different things. And I'm like, they're actually not, because as a criminal defense attorney, like, I'm a government attorney at that. Like, I don't have my own firm. I don't work for I work for the public defender's office, but like, I'm a government attorney. So I don't choose my clients. They're by statute. If you qualify, you qualify. My supervisor assigns the cases. So I don't choose my clients. I don't get to say, no, I don't want to work with you on this. You're my client. So I have to take what's given to me and do and make the best out of what's given to me. Now, in coaching, yes, in a sense, we can choose our clients. Like, if people come to us and we're like, no, I don't think we're a good fit, you can turn them away or refer them to someone else. But I don't choose their problems. So the same way I don't choose my criminal clients and the type of case that they have, what defense we got to come up with. I guess I do choose a defense, but I don't choose the facts of the case that is given to me in the criminal world. In the coaching world, I don't choose the facts of your struggle that has led you to seek me out in terms of help me be more productive, help me get my life together, help me get my schedule together. So in both situations, I'm taking lemons and I'm making lemonade out of them. So I love them both for different reasons. Coaching comes easy to me. Like, I can plan and create schedules and all of that in the back of my head, which is why people probably have always come to me for it, because like, you ask me something and I automatically reverse engineer and don't even realize I'm doing it half the time. But then the criminal defense side of me is a lot more analytical, because I got to search for a case for it. I got to find a defense. I have to, figure out where are the holes and try to plug them or mitigate what it is that I can. So I love them both for different reasons, because I think they use probably the same side of my brain, but it feels like in some sense different sides of my brain. And one involves a little bit more work and fun to see the win, especially as defense. We don't always get the wins because sometimes the system is stacked up against us. So to be able to create wins in that area where it's coaching, it's a lot easier to probably create wins. And it's something that I can do like in my sleep with my eyes closed.
I never thought about how the public defenders have to also be criminal defense attorneys, but it makes perfect sense. Okay, so then let me just ask you this, and this has nothing to do with business. This is just me gossiping. They said that Puff Daddy or Diddy, whatever we're supposed to call him's attorney, like said, okay, I can't be his attorney anymore. If you are working for the state or the city or whatever it is, however it's working, if you have a huge disagreement with the person that you have to represent, are you able to say, no, I can't do this?
No. Generally speaking, no. We have to have like a legal and ethical conflict to withdraw. The thing with private attorneys is you gave them your money and y'all decided, kind of like coaching, hey, we're going to work together. The same way we can terminate a coaching relationship because you're not respecting the boundaries, you're not, complying by the agreement, you didn't pay me. That's what happens in terms of private attorneys. They can get off of cases for those type of reasons because kind of like a divorce, irreconcilable differences.
I get it. Okay, interesting. I have always been very interested in law, but more from like the sociological perspective and less of like, this is sigma cum laude and this means like I don't really care what the fucking rules are, but I love like looking at the interplay of people and the hierarchies and whatnot because I got PDA autism. You can't tell me that you're better than me. You can't tell me that you're smarter than me. Like you can't. I'm not gonna respect you unless I freaking respect you. So looking at those structures really is just so interesting to me because I don't get it. And I couldn't be in corporate. I was a restaurant girl or I worked in property management, and property management was the closest to corporate that I ever got. And both jobs required that I did a lot of walking. Right. Like when you work at a very busy restaurant 5 days a week for 7 hours at a time, you're walking 15,000 steps each freaking shift. Right. And it's the same thing when you're leasing apartments and you got to walk all over the place for them. And that was always the time that I felt my best, is when I was getting that many steps in. So recently, in these past couple of years, after getting diagnosed with a bunch of chronic conditions and really having a bad time in entrepreneurship because I just did it the masculine way and was pushing myself and hustling and felt guilty if I wasn't working and ended up making myself sick. But I've started walking. And it's turned into these CEO walks where I'm out there once or twice a day. I've got my hat on. I'm working on my phone. I'm talking to ChatGPT. I'm listening to client messages. I'm sending them back. I'm making content. And it's just something that has been so incredibly powerful and helpful for me because I hate sitting at the computer. And I've recently started looking into working out for your Mars sign in your birth chart. Astrology is a really big situation for me. I think we can learn a lot about ourselves from our birth chart. And I am a Capricorn Mars, which makes sense that I like to walk and work at the same time as my favorite form of exercise.
Well, I'm a Gemini, so I know we're not the same. But walking for me is, and like when I started the coaching business, that was kind of how me finally it's sinking in that people have been saying this. You're bored, you have no time, you had no time. That's how those things started coming, because what could we do in the pandemic? They told us to get outside and walk, social distance and all that stuff. So like I was going for these 45-hour-minute walks. Like I would walk from my house to the park, walk around, and then walk back. And so like these ideas started coming to me, and I'm like, okay, clearly I need to write these down. So like I started voice noting stuff to myself, like a Google Doc where I would just talk into the Google Doc and let it transcribe, like writing these different notes. And I started realizing that, and I still do these walks to this day, when I get outside, it helps clear my mind and it helps give me new ideas, especially if I'm stuck on something or sitting on something. Like to this day at work, typically around 10 a.m., I go for a walk. And when I come back, I'm ready to sit down, focus, and buckle in until about lunchtime. Take my lunch break. That's my next reset, and then do it again. So I know we're not the same sign. I don't know the moon charts to start. I don't know if I'm Gemini rising, setting. I don't know all of that. But walking and outdoorsness and ideas is very much a me thing.
Absolutely. I wish more
Well,
people understood. I'm not a big proponent of Mel Robbins, but she has a podcast episode where she interviews a man who literally wrote the book on walking, and he's done all sorts of research on the benefits of walking compared to running and all sorts of other stuff. And I listened to that podcast on a walk and I was really sold. And there's a lot of things that they cover in that one, but essentially, if you need to get clarity on a problem, you need to go for a walk. If you need to lose weight, you need to go for a walk. If you need to reset your energy, you need to go for a walk. Our body was literally made to walk. And there's science that suggests You can condition your body to walk 25 miles a day within like 10 days or something. It's some ridiculous amount of time that you're able to condition yourself to 25 miles a day. But to condition yourself to run 25 miles, i.e. a marathon, takes like 12 months.
Yeah.
It's incredible. And
No
I would
desire to
like
run a
to tell
marathon.
every single person out there who is ADHD, at least, whether you're autistic or not, but if you're ADHD and you've taken a stimulant medication and that made you say that your anxiety, quote unquote, went away, what you had was not anxiety. It was internalized hyperactivity, and you need to move your body. That's the only way to get rid of it. The only way to stop overthinking is not with more thinking. It's with movement. So if your anxiety, quote unquote, went away, that's because the noise went down. You need to move your body and you will feel so much better. And it doesn't, listen, it doesn't have to be long. It doesn't have to be fancy. You could turn it into a manifestation walk where you go to the really pretty neighborhood and you get yourself a latte and you look at these houses. Right now it's azalea season in my neighborhood. And I tell you what, y'all about to get inundated on my social media with these multicolored pink and purple flowers that are all over my neighborhood and are the inspiration to my hair color. I'll tell you what, it's so pretty out there. So really, move your body. You've got a professional in front of you telling you to move your body and another professional in front of you telling you to move your body, especially if you want to be a CEO. All right, let's get this train back on the tracks. Next question. Here's a good one for you. What is one thing about running your business that caught you off guard? Maybe something that you didn't expect when you first started.
I gotta do it all. Like, yeah, I knew that, but some of the like, what is the quote unquote all that you have to do? It's like, you know, the obvious things like make content, do that, but then you're like, I just want to get on there and make content. But then if the content isn't converting, now you got to figure out what about it isn't converting so you can fix that to make it better and to do better and to try new things and get out of comfort zone. I was like, yeah, I know getting out of the comfort zone is important. But I think for me, it was really just the like all the things that you have to do and then realizing, well, acknowledging that it's not enough time to do it all. So being able to understand like what are the needle moving activities? What are the activities that you really enjoy? What can you outsource or put to the back burner for later if you're not ready to outsource? So for me, it was really trying to figure out what all is involved in it. And then being that I started it in the pandemic, and now for people who had businesses pre-pandemic, coming into the pandemic, them having to pivot to figure out these things, me starting it in the pandemic, just trying to figure out these things, and then coming out of the pandemic, get into the place of like people were at that point like zoomed out. Like I was doing masterclasses when I first started and people were signing up. It was fun. But then after a while, I hit a streak where like I was promoting them and no one really wanted to sign up because everyone was like zoomed out. They were tired of being on their computers because the world was opening back up. And now I think we're back at the balance of there are in-person events, but people are back to like, okay, I'll hop on Zoom or, I'll hop on these webinars. So it's riding the waves, like being willing to ride the waves and know that just because something doesn't work right now doesn't mean it doesn't work, period.
Yeah. Absolutely. There's so many ways to make money as a coach, and you don't need live launches and you don't need all these other things. And now I think the next trend is going to be lead magnets are kind of out because everybody knows when they give you their email for this one little thing that's going to solve all their problems, that now you're going to be in their inbox all the time. And I think we're actually going to have a really big swing back towards the good old fashioned email newsletter. I think businesses that have been getting all their leads, or coaches specifically that have been getting all their leads from a lead magnet, they're going to keep their lead magnets out, but I think they're going to see the biggest results in 2025 and 2026 with a good newsletter that has lots of value in it, where, the writer has researched things and is sending you information that you might not have already seen, or it's going to act as, for those of us that are spiritual, like the reinforcement and the synchronicity that we need, where it's like, you heard about XYZ on your TikTok, and then the next day, one of your favorite creators sent you an email about that thing, and you're like, yeah, see, I knew that this was meant for me. So you mark my words, everybody. This is probably the middle of 2025 when this one airs, June or July. So you mark my words, by the end of 2025, everybody's going to be doing their email newsletter again. And people are going to be excited about it because, like you said, the pendulum swings both ways, and everybody was doing webinars for a minute. We all got really sick of them, and everybody didn't want to go to them anymore. And then we moved to a lot of recorded stuff. Everybody was like, oh, okay, I'll get the recording for that. Oh, I'll get the recording for that. And I think the same thing happened with email marketing in particular, which brings me to my next question that I'm curious about, and I'm sure everybody else is, but what are your favorite social media platforms to utilize for just making content and for connecting with those unicorn clients?
For me, it's been Instagram, and I think it needs to be LinkedIn, but I have to figure out LinkedIn. Like I post on LinkedIn some, but don't. I need to figure out the engagement aspect of LinkedIn, so especially like with speaking to the corporate aspect of it, like especially if I want to hone in there, that's going to be LinkedIn. But Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn. Like my videos do really well on TikTok, but because TikTok doesn't have like, or I haven't hit the followers to be able to do like the link in bio and stuff like that, it's not an easy way to get them to convert or do stuff. Like they watch them, they listen, but like I haven't figured out the conversion aspect of TikTok. So mostly Instagram.
I will tell you, because I'm a TikTok queen,
And I
if you don't
want it
have
to
the
be TikTok.
ability to put, if you can't put a link in your TikTok yet, go ahead and just put in the 80 letters you can have for your bio, links on IG.
Okay.
Because if you're making content that's really connecting with people, they want to know about your stuff. They want to click all those buttons, and they'll be like, "Oh, okay, I'll go over there," because we can hook up our IG and our YouTube real easily to TikTok.
Okay. I can do that.
Yeah,
Look,
it's
you
a
talked
really
about
easy
pen and
thing,
paper earlier. I need to get my pen and paper to write my own notes.
ma'am. I am never without a pen and paper because my memory sucks. All right, next question. Oh, this one I really, really want. You already answered the one before it, so I'm going to ask you this one because I'm a mindset coach and I want to know what your thoughts are. What is a mindset shift that you had to make to step into the level of success that you have now? And is there a shift that you feel like you still need to make?
I don't like change. I used to
A
say
Gemini
it all
who
the
doesn't
time,
like
and
change?
then I really, yeah, I don't.
Curious.
But what I realize is that it's not so much that I don't like change. I don't like change that I can't control. I can
Mhm.
always control my response to anything that happens. So I have to shift my thought behind I don't like change to what can I do about the change essentially. Like if someone tells me something right now and they're like, I need you to go do X, Y, and Z today. In my head, I'm thinking about all the things that I already have planned and how inconvenient this is going to be and how much of a pivot this is. So when am I going to do the things that I already have currently scheduled for today? Because I automatically go into reverse engineering mode. If you're telling me you need to do something and I'm thinking about the 3 other things that I have to get done today, I'm trying to figure out how this is going to work. So for me, I had to realize that it's not that I don't like change, because speaking of criminal defense side, like there was a lot of change happening with work and like caseload changes, things like that, to where things kept getting thrown at me. And I was like, I had this plan. Like I had created a new system for work about how I was going to go through my cases, how it was going to help me be more organized and be able to prep things further in advance. But then we had to take on additional cases because someone left the office and we didn't have a current replacement for them. So those cases still have to be handled and managed. And so I'm like, I have this system that I wanted to use. This system won't work with having these additional cases because they involve a different level of care than what my cases were involved. And so I used to say, I don't want to say daily, but pretty close to it, that I don't like change. And because I kept saying it, I was putting it out into the atmosphere. And so change kept happening. So I had to not only shift my mindset, but shift the words that I was saying and acknowledge that it's not that you don't like change. You don't like change that you can't control. But what you can always control is your response. So control the controllable. So, okay, if you have to create a pivot, okay, this system isn't going to work, table it. What's the new system that will work with these additional responsibilities? Okay, I need you to pivot and go do X, Y, and Z thing today. Go into reverse engineering mode. Okay, the things that you have on the schedule, what can be moved till tomorrow or later in the week so that you can accommodate this change and still get done what you need to get done? Or what's something you have scheduled later in the week that by you going to do this unexpected thing, it actually fits better here, and now you just rearrange the things. So for me, it was embracing the fact that I actually am okay with change when I'm able to take some control of it and not just let it happen to me.
Very interesting. I've really had to adopt the mindset of, it's better off this way. Like, I just believe that my spirit guides, like every time the internet won't work, or like a website won't work, or like I can't check out somewhere, I can't do this or I can't do that. Something that usually or used to frustrate the shit out of me now I'm like, okay, then there's a better time. All right, I'm ready for it, whatever it is, right? Like I truly have shifted into belief that everything is working out for my best possible case scenario, and I don't have to worry about anything. And it's really helped because I used to be not easygoing.
I feel you on that one. Definitely feel you on that one.
That's the nice way to put it. Excellent. So is there a shift that you feel like you're still going to need to make that you can like recognize with what's happening with your next iteration?
Change. Earlier when I was talking about the potential or the thought of like niching down, or do I want to do this pivot? That's still a change. And because it involves uncertainty, like, yes, I talk about controlling my response to it, but I don't know what's on the other side of it. So I can't really say what my response is to say that I can control my response. So it's almost like I want to predict the future and I can't predict the future. And so I have to be okay with living in the present and taking the road and taking the path as it goes. So still working on that evolution of change, getting to different iterations of it. So how I've slowly shifted from, it's not that you don't like change, this is what type of change you do like. And so now we're
Yeah.
at this next level of, if you make this pivot in business, what does that look like, or what does that mean? And how do you continue to grow and evolve into an area that you're not fully sure that you want to step into or how to step into? So it's that continued aspect of change, I would think.
Hmm. Maybe you can shift, especially when it comes to the business and like narrowing things down and niching down. Maybe instead of thinking about what it would look like, think about what it would lead to.
Yeah. The
More time
opportunity.
for More time for CEO walks, better content, cooler people. That's what I always tell myself. I'm like, this is just leading to the coolest people. This is like, we haven't experienced our best day yet. We just haven't experienced our best day yet. We have to stay here because it's only going to get better. I keep telling myself that it's only going to get better.
Yeah. I like that.
Especially because you're in Central Florida and I'm in Northeast Florida, and this is the best freaking time of year to be in Florida. Oh my God. I went for a walk at 3 o'clock yesterday and didn't even break a sweat. Bitch, can't tell me it gets better than that.
Yeah. Look, I'm going for a walk after this because I haven't got my
Absolutely.
walk in yet today.
I feel that. We'll be walking at the same time. Yay! Okay. Let me see. Oh, this is a really good one because this is one of the reasons that you started your business in the first place. So many female founders get caught in the cycle of being the doer instead of being the CEO. So how do you make sure that you're staying in your zone of genius? You briefly touched on this by talking about, outsource or put stuff on the back burner, but I'm sure you can enlighten us further.
For me, it's still a work in progress. I think in the beginning, when I first started my business, I was I felt that I needed to learn how to do it all, because how can I tell somebody else what it is that I want if I'm not sure what it is that I want? And I think we have to go through those phases of like, you can't communicate what you want until you figure out what it is that you want. So the quote unquote do it all phase. But then because I love personal development, I got into a phase where I was just investing in coaching, but I wasn't per se always applying it. I love to learn, but I need to take time to implement and apply the things that I'm learning instead of just hopping on to the next thing. So now I feel like I'm in a slowdown phase of use the resources that you have. You've invested in all these things, you've done all these things. So, yes, it might mean a slower walk because I might be doing it myself, but it's because you've already invested in the things to do it, but you didn't do it at the time that you were in that investment. So now you have to actually take the time to do it. So I think it's being willing to acknowledge what season that you're in. And the only way you can really acknowledge what season you're in is being honest about who you are and what it is that you need. Like getting to know yourself, whether it's on the CEO walk, through journaling, meditation, prayer, whatever your form is, but getting to the core of who it is that you are, because in doing that, you can really realize and see what do you need versus
Yeah.
what is that you want. Because sometimes we get so focused on our wants that we aren't looking truly at our needs, and then we create this like incongruency, and we have this give and take and this push and pull that sometimes we create tension that doesn't need to be there because we're focusing on wants versus true needs, or you're spending money on these things that you want and not the things that you really need. And you could have had your cake and ate it too, potentially, if you would have went after the need, because it would have taken care of the want that you didn't know that would have encompassed it.
Yeah. How many coaching programs have you gone through? Because I like going through other people's coaching programs, and I am a firm believer that coaches need coaches because, you can't see the forest for the trees when you're right there.
Yeah. So I think, did you ask me how many have I been through?
Yeah, how many have you done?
Um, I'm currently in two, because like one of them was like a lifetime access, one was a live portion with some self-paced things. So I'm in more than two. Three. Three actively, but then I have some other ones that is like they're in my saved folder of personal development that I either haven't gone through yet or haven't finished, or some other version of it. Some of them are free things that I've signed up for, and you have access to the replay. Some of them are things that I paid for. Some of them are like, it was like one program that might have had multiple silos, so it's like I might have done this aspect but not one of the other silos, or I'm gonna come back to that later when I'm at that stage. So yeah, a lot.
So a lot of courses. Have you worked a lot of one-on-one with coaches?
Yes, I've done one, one, no, one, two, three different like one-on-ones. One was like was it 6 weeks, 6 months, like when I first started my coaching program. One had an aspect of like one-on-one, but also a group, and then the replay. And then one was like I guess you would call it like a VIP day, but like a single session, couple hour thing. So yeah, I've done one-on-one, and I prefer one-on-one to group, which is why my coaching is one-on-one, because I feel like I get lost in the group and I can easily get lost in the background, especially when those coaching programs are ones to where if the live aspect is, i.e., work full time during my full time job or a different time zone, because I have the business, like I go to bed at like 8:30 ish because I wake up in the morning at 2:30 because I'm naturally a morning person. So I get up, do my morning routine, I work my business for 45 minutes to an hour before I get my workout and take a shower and go to work. So sometimes it's the things that are in the evening, and so before I sign up for something, I always try to make sure I understand what time is this going to take place so that I know what energetically can I do that, capacity can I do that, because I know after like 7:30ish, my brain starts shutting down. Like I can do like make a to-do list planning type stuff, but being in a coaching and being actively coached, I zone. Like anything after 7:30, like if the call started at 6 and it goes past 7:30, anything after 7:30, please let there be a replay, because that's where I need to pick up on the replay, because I'm not mentally there. Physically I'm there, but not mentally.
That's so important for everybody listening to really take note of. And I've talked about this in other episodes too. There are so many ways to grow and scale a coaching business, and there are so many ways to work one-on-one with a coach. And for a long time, everybody was telling me you have to do group coaching, one to many if you want to scale. And I ran a couple group coaching programs in different formats. And I was never able to get the results for my clients in a group program that I can in a one-on-one, because we talk about a lot of really personal shit. And I don't blame people for not wanting to talk about that in front of other people. I get it. And, my one-on-one clients really trust me with a lot of deeply personal information that I take to the grave with me. And that's really valuable. So there's more than one way to skin a cat. There's more than one way to scale a coaching program. And if you're really good with people one-on-one, you need to make sure that you are charging for that service, because I'll tell you what, one-on-one coaching, if you're really good at what you do and you really provide a great transformation, you will have a fantastic business for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
That's so interesting. Okay, here's the last question, and this will really help everybody who is watching and or listening. What advice would you give to a founder who's almost at the level that you're at, but still feeling stuck?
Get out of your head. All the things that you're thinking about doing, spend some time writing them down. Get it out of your head and get it onto paper. The only way you're going to really be able to take action and do anything to get to your next level, to become the next version of yourself, to get out of your own way, is having a game plan. No, you don't have to know the entire game plan, because we can't predict the future as much as we think we can. but knowing what your next first step is, you can figure that out. Because your next first step could be the researching, like market research. It could be hiring a coach, searching for a coach, hiring a coach. It could be using the resources that you already have. And so I know for me, when I get in my head, when I'm just like, I don't know what I want to do next, whether that's in life, business, my full-time job, or a combination of the three, they're all running together. I need to take some time to do a brain dump. I need to get out of my head. I need to write down everything out of my head so that I can then focus on one thing. And a lot of times when you call it your CEO walk, like when I go on my CEO walk, I'm typically going into it coming off of something. So whether that be I just need to reset because I just got out of court and I'm not having a good day and I don't want to stay in this mood. I'm struggling with something, whether physically, mentally, or just struggling on like, I feel like I'm almost there, but I'm missing a piece. A lot of times that walk unlocks it. It either shows me that it's not as big a deal as you were making it, or you didn't think about this, but what about this? Or here's this person that can help you with this. So get out of your head, like write it down, because when you can look at it, you're able to see that it either is or isn't as big of a deal as you've been making it, and you're able to start working on creating a game plan that'll allow you to take action so that you can just start.
That idea of a game plan is so valuable too, because if you think about like sports, and I've recently been watching the new Kate Hudson show on Netflix called, oh God, it has to do with basketball. I forget the name of it. Anyways, it's a good show. If you're looking for a good new 8 episode show, it's fantastic. And she's the general manager of the team, and it's a family team, and everybody has like their roles, or she's the president and and a game plan really just means in the first quarter, we're going to go after the offense. In the second quarter, we're going to go after the defense. In the halftime, we're going to reevaluate, but you can't control for any of the variables. You just have to know like the plan of attack, right? Here's the game plan. Everybody do their best. Everybody communicate as well as possible. Perform, and don't friggin' get hurt.
Exactly. Show up.
Yeah. Just show up. Oh my God, this has been so fantastic. Okay, Coach Lee. So before we say goodbye to everybody, please tell them where they can find and follow you and how they can work with you. And do not worry, if you are a visual learner like myself, this information will also be available in the show notes.
I will. I'm at Legal.Lee.me everywhere, which is LEGALLEE.me. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Clubhouse, LinkedIn, all the things at Legal.Lee.me, because I have to bring the legal into the coaching. So yeah, that's where I am everywhere. I think it was another question. Did I miss one? Did I
How
answer
can they work with you?
Oh, reach out to me. Let's have a conversation. Let's talk about what it is that you're looking to do. Like, what's your struggle? Are you trying to find the hidden time of your day? Are you trying to get and create a schedule? Is it one thing that you're working on? Like, do you have this new thing in life that's a temporary thing? Like, I've had clients who've worked with me because it was like, hey, I need to study for this test, but I'm still working. I'm still doing these things. Like, where do I fit my studying in? This is only for the next 3 months. And then after that, like, I can go back to my schedule that was working. Maybe it's, I know that like I used to be productive. I used to get things done, but I just been struggling. Like as we adult and we take on these new roles, the things that worked for us back in the day, like the way that you used to eat back in the day, it might not work for you now. Your metabolism ain't metabolism the same way. So your productivity back then might not work the same now. And it's not that you're a failure. It's just that life is life and you need to figure out what's the slight adjustment. Maybe you used to work out at night and now that's not conducive to your schedule if you really want to get the things done and maximize your time. So let's talk about what is the struggle. What has worked for you in the past? What isn't working? Let's get to the why and the reason behind why it's not working and how we can adjust and how we can shift to make it work for you now in this current season, phase, period of your life, so that you can then go forward and continue to get back to being the person that you're looking to be, or the person that you quote unquote once were and you want to get back to her or him.
Excellent. That is so fantastic. I know everybody who was watching and is watching learned so much from this episode, and I knew I was going to too. Thank you so much, Coach Lee, for being here. And to all of my community, I love you all equally and for different reasons. Please take really good care of yourself, and we will talk again soon. Okay, bye.